The global aircraft manufacturing industry is largely dominated by just two players, Boeing and Airbus. China is attempting to break that stranglehold with COMAC. The Financial Times reports that the state-run aircraft maker is eyeing expansion.
In the early 2000s, one of the first Airbus A320s sold to China vanished without a trace. Not a single commercial flight recorded it. Not a hint on radar. French engineers and aviation executives were left in disbelief. A nearly $100 million aircraft, a marvel of engineering, had disappeared. It became known among intelligence circles as a ghost plane. For years, its fate was a mystery. Then, 2 decades later, French intelligence revealed a truth that would shake the aviation world. The jet had been dismantled, studied, and copied piece by piece. Every system, every component, every minute detail had been replicated. That ghost plane had become the blueprint for China's C919, a jet designed to take on Boeing and Airbus themselves. But here's the paradox. Even after a decade of development, and despite global airlines facing critical shortages, almost no one outside China will operate the C919. The reason why exposes the inner workings of modern aviation in a way few people realize. China's first domestically engineered passenger jet, the COMAC C919, finally took flight after over 10 years of meticulous development. It is a narrow-body aircraft meant to compete directly with the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and Airbus A320neo, the titans of the sky. These two jets dominate fleets worldwide, carrying millions of passengers across continents every day. Together, they represent more than half of all narrow-body passenger aircraft in operation. For decades, Boeing and Airbus have maintained a near monopoly. 90% of the global commercial aircraft market falls under their control. But no system, however dominant, is invincible. Boeing's recent crises, safety failures, production delays, and quality control nightmares revealed the fragility of even a long-standing duopoly. Airbus, despite its capabilities, could not scale fast enough to fill the gap left by its faltering American rival. Beijing saw an opportunity. The vision for the C919 was clear. Dominate the vast Chinese domestic market first, then challenge the global aviation hierarchy. But everything changed when Alain Guillet, former chief of France's DGSE intelligence, exposed a revelation that would alter the narrative. The C919 is largely a near-perfect replica of the Airbus A320. Every component, every system, painstakingly studied and reproduced. The ghost plane of the early 2000s was no longer just a missing jet. It had become the foundation of China's push into global aviation. Patrick Devaux, former vice chairman of economic intelligence at Airbus, revealed how the aircraft was methodically dismantled to extract every detail. By 2021, the original ghost plane was discovered abandoned in Jiangsu province, a haunting relic of an audacious plan. Airbus officially denies any wrongdoing, but the story underscores a hard truth. In global aerospace, diplomacy and commerce often outweigh justice. Confronting China over a stolen aircraft would have jeopardized billions in contracts and long-term relationships. As Devaux explained bluntly, a CEO or government official asking, "Did you steal our plane?" gains nothing and risks everything. Yet despite this monumental effort, the C919 has failed to attract international airlines. Not a single carrier outside China has signed on. Both Boeing and Airbus are struggling under massive backlogs. Airlines around the world are desperate for new aircraft, but the C919 remains confined to Chinese carriers, a jet with tremendous ambition but limited reach. At first glance, the C919 program seems successful. Over 850 orders have been placed across 24 clients, but a closer look reveals a different story. 23 of these 24 orders are from Chinese airlines or leasing companies, mostly state-owned, with COMAC itself under government control. The order book looks strong, but it reflects domestic demand, not international trust. Why hasn't the C919 penetrated global markets? 3 fundamental weaknesses hold it back. The first challenge is performance. On paper, the C919 is a modern clean-sheet design, incorporating advanced aerodynamics and contemporary engineering. Logic suggests it should outperform decades-old Western models. But reality tells a different story. Its engines, the LEAP 1C, appear modern, but are in fact detuned versions of older designs, more closely related to the 1970s era CFM56 than to the latest LEAP engines powering the MAX and NEO. The result? Limited range, just 3,000 miles, and reduced fuel efficiency. Airlines seeking efficiency and operational flexibility see this as a major limitation. Reliability and supply chain. Boeing and Airbus dominate not only because of design brilliance, but because of decades-long international supplier networks. COMAC, by contrast, is heavily dependent on foreign suppliers for essential systems, avionics, landing gear, and flight management systems. Many suppliers are cautious, refusing to provide cutting-edge technology due to intellectual property concerns. U.S. export restrictions exacerbate the problem, limiting access to critical American components. Even if these restrictions vanished overnight, a lack of global support infrastructure remains a critical barrier. Airlines need access to spare parts, maintenance crews, and repair facilities worldwide. Maintenance accounts for 10 to 15% of airline operating costs. Delays or shortages make operating the C919 internationally financially risky. Historical precedents, such as China's JF-17 fighter, highlight the credibility gap. Technical failures have grounded entire fleets, whereas Western aircraft like the F-16 have proven reliable over decades. The third challenge is availability. Manufacturing a modern passenger aircraft is an exacting, unforgiving process. Millions of components must meet strict tolerances. A single error can have catastrophic consequences. Since production began in 2011, COMAC has produced only 10 aircraft, less than one per year. Compare that to Boeing or Airbus, which produce more than one aircraft per day. Even with aggressive future plans, 150 aircraft annually by 2030, it will take decades to clear current orders. Airlines need aircraft now, not promises for the distant future. Despite these challenges, COMAC should not be underestimated. China possesses financial resources, a massive domestic market, and a growing industrial base capable of tackling complex manufacturing projects. But global aviation requires proven operational reliability, supply chain resilience, and a robust worldwide support network, areas where the C919 is lacking. Until COMAC transitions from imitation to genuine technological innovation, the Boeing-Airbus duopoly will remain firmly in control. The question is not whether China can compete in the long term. It is whether it is willing to commit decades to the development, infrastructure, and credibility required to earn global trust. The Ghost Plane's legacy continues to echo through modern aviation, from its mysterious disappearance to the birth of the C919. The story exposes the hidden forces and strategic calculations that govern the skies. COMAC's journey represents ambition and audacity, but also the constraints of replicating success without a fully integrated global system. Imagine the airline industry as a giant chessboard. Boeing and Airbus are long-established kings, controlling most of the territory. COMAC is a rook, attempting to penetrate, carefully moving piece by piece. Every sourcing decision, every engineering refinement, every component is calculated. A misstep could cost not just a plane, but decades of ambition. Despite these obstacles, China's determination is unmistakable. Prototypes continue to be tested, production methods refined, and engineers labor tirelessly to close the gap with Western technology. Yet the harsh reality remains. Global airlines demand efficiency, reliability, and international support. The C919, impressive as it is domestically, falls short on the world stage. The story of the C919 also reflects broader truths about global industries. Innovation is not merely about design. It requires relationships, trust, decades of operational experience, and robust support networks. A plane cannot simply be reverse-engineered and shipped worldwide. It requires infrastructure, credibility, and proven performance. The early disappearance of the A320 was both a cautionary tale and a turning point. It demonstrated how far nations would go to gain technological advantage, while exposing the limits of ambition unanchored to global systems. COMAC's journey mirrors this tension. Extraordinary domestic achievement, constrained by systemic realities. Ultimately, the C919 forces us to confront the realities of global competition. National pride, economic ambition, and strategic positioning collide with practical limitations. The jet challenges the Western duopoly, but cannot yet replace it. For airlines, investors, and governments, the lesson is clear. Technology alone is insufficient. Global success demands trust, reliability, and decades of operational excellence. The ghost plane story endures. From its disappearance to inspiring the C919, it illuminates the secret forces and strategic gambits that shape modern aviation. China's journey is only beginning, while the skies remain dominated by titans who have perfected every aspect of aircraft production and global operation over generations. The C919 is more than steel and engines. It is a symbol of ambition, national pride, and the tension between aspiration and reality. True mastery in aviation cannot be rushed. It is earned over decades through precision, dedication, and uncompromising excellence. And as the world watches, one question remains. Can China evolve from imitation to innovation, and in doing so, reshape the future of global aviation forever?